a great turnout for the summer meetings, and I appreciate everybody being here. Florence, do you have some documentation that you'd like to share with me, such as a title or?
Yes, I should have done that, but I had a sudden death that has blown my mind. And
well, you seem well. No, I'm joking about a serious matter. But do you have an introduction for me or anything in that nature? Or would you like to do your own when you come up here?
I'll have to do my own, and the title would be An Unexpected Rescue.
An Unexpected Rescue. Please help me welcome our first speaker, Florence Weinberg, Dr. Florence Weinberg. An Unexpected Rescue.
Yes. My way of introduction. My husband and I lived in Rochester, New York for 28 years. We owned a house that was a four-way split level, which was fashionable in those days. It was on the corner. We got it cheap because it was on the corner. One of the roads was a main artery, Penfield Road, and the other one had a school at the end of it. And so it was very busy at certain times of the day. However, across the street were 40 acres of fallow land. There had once been I think you might call it a mansion over there that had burned down about 40 years earlier. It had had an extensive flower garden, an orchard, and a private golf course. It had been allowed to go wild. It was a great place to take brief walks. In 40 acres, you could find lots of walking trails, and it had an area that was grass, a small area that was blackberry brambles, and an area that was wooded. It had a stream running down one side in a sort of ravine. I was out there walking one day. My husband was still at the University of Rochester, and I had just come back from teaching at St. John Fisher College, and I had some free time, and I went for a walk. I went through the grass. It was afternoon, and it was in the fall. The weather was beautiful, it was sunny, and I decided I would go into the woods and walk along the stream, which I did. I was occupied in looking down into the ravine and seeing what was going on down there. Sometimes we saw little animals of various kinds, or birds. There were many birds there in Rochester. But this time I didn't see any action down there. I happened to glance to my left. The trail along that ravine was on a levee. There was a precipitous drop down to the stream on the left, only about a 4-foot drop down to further wooded land over there. As I glanced to my left, I saw a small movement. Down below me was a garter snake, probably about that long, maybe not quite a yard long. In its mouth was at full stretch, and in its mouth was a frog. The frog was about the size of my fist, far too big for the snake to swallow. The snake had gotten both hind legs into its mouth and probably down its throat, and its teeth, which were not fanged, because not poisonous snakes don't have fangs, but they have a row of even little teeth that are curved backwards. His teeth were lodged in the back of the frog, and the snake couldn't open its mouth any further. The frog couldn't crawl out, and so the two of them were stuck. And I could see that both of them would die if they didn't get outside help. I got down off that levee, squatted down next to the two of them. They were frightened, of course. The snake tried to coil. The frog tried with its little arms to get away. Neither one succeeded. I reached over with my left hand and took hold of the snake's head and very gently opened it a little further than its own muscles could open. And very gently moved the skin back so that it disengaged from the teeth. Then I took hold of the frog and removed him from the snake's mouth. Then I stood up and stood back to see what would happen. Both of them were a little bit disoriented for a while. So the snake finally uncoiled and calmly went off in one direction. The frog shook its hind legs, found that they were still working, and hopped off in another direction. Neither one of them thanked me. Now I want to ask you, this is a parable, this unexpected rescue. What do you think is the point of this parable?
Don't bite off more than you can chew.
That's what I was gonna say.
Precisely. Well, I've made my time, so I don't have to ask several people and be worried about meeting my time. Yes, don't bite off more than you can chew, and this goes to every conceivable walk of life. If you are going for a PhD, don't choose to try to disprove Einstein's theory of relativity. It's more than you can chew, I'm sure. If you're in business, don't try to beat Google all at once. That won't work either. In other words, whatever you do, don't bite off more than you can chew. Use your judgment. Mr. Cook.